it is official. It is the season of romance. So I have 10 wonderful romance book recommendations for you for the summer. So hey, hope you're having a fantastic day, and let's get right into it. Just a caveat, all of these books I have read and I have loved and enjoyed. These are not just like, oh, I think these would really be good books. No, I've read and enjoyed every single one and would suggest each and every one to you, so just to let you know. The first book I have recommended for you is Bourbon and Lies. Now this is a beginning of a interconnected standalone trilogy set in Fiasco, Kentucky. Our main character, Lainey, has seen a crime that she is not supposed to see, and so she kind of goes under the Special Witness Protection Program, and so she ends up going to this bourbon ranch down in Kentucky, and she ends up meeting like these 3 Fox boys, and they're all sons of this huge bourbon franchise, and they're all kind of cursed, and they're not supposed to fall in love. Anybody they fall in love with dies, and so it's an interesting thing that's kind of going on here. But again, she's just kind of trying to survive, stay under the radar. Things are happening, but our main character in this one is the youngest of the Fox brothers. He's an ex-cop. He's got some baggage with him, and he is like not okay with Lainey being there. She's kind of like getting involved. She's living on the ranch. She's like getting into all the things and messing with the business, and it's really interesting, like the love dynamic that kind of ends up forming. And it's a really fun, interesting storyline. The love is good, like the bourbon distillery process is interesting, like the family ties and the lines, but then also just the story unraveling of like what she saw and like how the people are going to like retaliate, because she is originally from New York, so like kind of the retaliation from between the two is going to be really good. And so you're going to get a good mix of romance, intrigue, plot line, and you're going to have a really enjoyable, interesting time that you're going to want to like not put this book down. Here for the cake. Now this one is one that I loved immensely and would highly suggest this add to your list. So our main character, Paisley, she is about to attend her sister's wedding, but her sister is marrying her ex. Right? Like, not great things happening, and Paisley's really looked down upon in her family because she'd become a lawyer like her father wanted her to, and she has a beautiful, blooming digital agency or digital social media business, right? But her family really looks down upon her, and she's still single. Things kind of happen over the bachelorette weekend where she ends up lying to her, like, girlfriends and things like that, like, oh no, I have a boyfriend, and her like old college roommate enemy kind of dude kind of comes into play, and she begs him, please, will you come with me to my sister's wedding? It's like for the week down, and I believe it's like an island off of South Carolina is where they end up having this wedding. And so things kind of ensue from there. So it's a fake dating rom-com, but there's actually some really real world elements to it that I really enjoy out of this book. But really the dynamic between our main male character Klein and then our female main character Paisley, how it's just like almost a second chance romance, but like there was a romance that never was, and I think that's what really gets me each time. It's fun, it's enjoyable, the plot line's really good, and like the twists and turns, there's a little bit of spice in it too, and it's just a really good, refreshing read. But it's also fun to see that dynamics of like your sister is literally marrying your ex, so that's always fun, right? Wildfire. Now this is a ultimate summer romance. This is so fun. It's cute, college age, but still enjoyable as like an older adult, right? Like it's just super fun. Our main character Aurora and our other main character Russ end up having a one-night stand at a college party right before summer departs, right? And Aurora never likes to overstay her welcome, so she kind of escapes, didn't think anything of it. And Russ is more of like a sentimental, he's a hockey player type of guy, and so he ends up like getting a little upset because like he can't find Aurora. She kind of ran out. Well, they think they're never going to see each other again, whatever, things happen. Literally a few days later, they end up at the same summer camp that they're going to be directors of, and like they're like the heads of, right? And so romance kind of ensues from there. They both have a bit of an interesting dynamic with their family. Like there's lots of different, I believe Russ's family is dealing with his dad is, I don't remember if he's abusive or if he's just an alcoholic drunk kind of dude, but then Aurora kind of deals with her father who is never there, and the mom's kind of like suave, never, also kind of like a whirlwind, right? Lots of emotions, lots of different family dynamics, but then like they're also not supposed to in this camp be together at all because they're both camp directors and like camp instructors to these really young kids, right? They want to be like good aspirations to the kid. Like romance has like nothing to do with this summer job, right? And so it's really cute. It's really fun. It's interesting. I love both of these characters so much with my heart, and it's just a fun, cute summer read that like you don't want to get out of your head. Like I still think about this. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've read this book, and I still think about it every summer because it's so fun. I always want to reread it, and it's an enjoyable read, but it's also got some like dark, deep dynamics that like really enthrall you in the plot line. So it's not like just romance. There is actually like real details going on, and I think that's what also makes this read so enjoyable. Highly suggest. The Fine Print. Now, this one I believe is pretty popular a few years ago, but it was actually worth the read. I don't like the other books in the series, just to caveat that. I only like this first book. So this is literally like if Disney World wrote a book about itself with romance, this is what it would be like. And it's so fun. Our main character, she is some type of like graphic artist or something of that sort, and her family has been living in, like, just for instance, like, I don't think it's what it's called in here, but like Orlando, Florida, right? And like her whole family has always worked for like the Disney World, or what like this dream world is called. And she's kind of living and just trying to make ends meet. She's not able to get the job that she wants, and she's like working at like the magic parlor where she does little girls' hair and like dresses them up. She does a phenomenal job, right? But it's not her dream job. Well, in this world, the father has died, and so our main male character has ended up taking over like his father's business of this like Disney World theme park. And so things kind of ensue from there. They're looking for things, like attractions are down, and they're like, he's very like business focused and business minded, right? Like he's like profits. And so it's like, what do we need to do to bring people in here more and like get things going, right? And so that's where our female main character comes in, and they end up kind of just crossing paths, and like love ensues from there. It's a really enjoyable, like, it's just like if Disney World had a romance like in modern day time about Disney World, that's what this book would be. And it's fun, it's cute, it's definitely a different dynamic. Again, like, it's a really cute, enjoyable read. And again, if you love Disney World, if you're a Disney adult, like, you're definitely gonna love this book. And I enjoyed this. I'm not really a Disney adult. I enjoy Disney, but like I don't like love Disney, right? But it was really fun. It's really cute. I like the dynamics of like business meeting like more the creative side, and it's really fun, of course, with all those dynamics, but the romance is also just super cute. Raiders of the Lost Heart. Now, this is for my mummy girlies, Lara Croft Tomb Raiders, Indiana Jones lovers. Absolutely love this series. It's so fun. I'm having such a great time. But this first book is about our main character, and she's an archaeologist, and she ends up kind of getting a weird message saying like, hey, if you want to come down and help out with this dig, like, let's do it. Because she's kind of at this point in her career where she's kind of not trying to like blow her career up, but she kind of is, because a lot of the men aren't respecting her and things like that of this sort. But we follow her along. She goes down to this Mexican jungle, not really realizing what she's gotten herself into. Ends up finding out the guy that she kind of sort of had a thing for, but then ended up having beef for in like grad school, who is also an archaeologist, is heading up this dig down in Mexico. And he ends up hooking her in because the dig that they're trying to get to and like trying to discover all these like facts about is somebody she was supposed to be part of her ancestry. And so things kind of ensue from there, and they're kind of like, it's like this adventure, and they end up kind of falling in love, and it's really enjoyable. It's kind of silly, goofy. There's lots of adventure and trips in this, and you do end up finding out like the benefactor is like not maybe the guy he's supposed to be. And so again, you kind of following the lines of like what's true, what's not true, and like there's a historical aspect to it. I don't think it's a real history that they're like quoting about in this book, but it's a fun, like the way they explain it and like what they're trying to look for, and like the history of like this person and like the things like that, like what happened to these Mayans or something like that. It's really fun. It's cute, it's enjoyable. Again, very Lara Croft Tomb Raider vibes, but in like a romance aspect, and it's really, really fun. The Summer We Fell. Now, this one is a bit of a tearjerker. It's happy, but also sad at the same time. Like, it's the perfect culmination of like happy and sad, and like all the different emotions you're gonna feel in this book are gonna be like, what just happened to me? And like the mystery behind it all, because it is kind of following two different timelines of like what happened. Because like, first of all, we're like back in their like early teenager days, or like in their early 20s, something like that. And then you're also in the current modern day time where it's now 10 years later of like what happened. And so it's a really interesting dynamic. So it follows our main character, who is kind of beefing with the boyfriend's best friend. And we're now 10 years later, a terrible happenstance that has occurred, and now they're just trying to figure out where they kind of go from. So in these events that this occurred, it's like a decade later after something else has occurred, and there's like a big tragedy that kind of brings all these people together, and that's where things kind of ensue. And then we kind of get into the two different timelines of the girl, which is our main character, who was really beefing with our main character's best friend. But again, was there a romance? Was there not a romance? What happened in between, the back and forth? And it's really following this really interesting storyline, because she hates the best friend, right? She absolutely hates him. But again, it kind of is like, well, is there actually a romance budding from there? But again, that's your boyfriend's best friend. Like, how do you navigate that? And things kind of ensue from there. There is a really big tragedy. Like, the way it all plays out is absolutely stunning. Like It's gonna blow your mind. It's stunning. Like the way the buildup of this book is, and I'm trying not to bring any spoilers into it because you need to go into this book a little blind, and like that's the best way to do it, because you don't want the mystery to be unveiled before it happens, because it's nothing I would have ever expected, and it's such a beautiful story of love and redemption and just tragedy, and like how the implications of like certain dynamics will affect others. And it really is such an interesting dynamic read, but it's so heartfelt and it's so beautiful, and just read it. Just read it, okay? I promise you won't regret it. It's a beautiful, wonderful love story. This is great to read by the pool or by the beach. Like this is like the perfect ultimate beach read right now. The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. Like this one is so fun. You're gonna be laughing and giggling. The romance in this is fantastic. I love Lana Ferguson's writing. So this one follows our main character. She is like in the middle of grad school. She's just trying to make ends meet, right? And she used to have an OnlyFans account, right? Like that, but she has since put that away, but she has lost her corporate job and she's looking for a job and she can't find anything. She ends up finding this live-in nanny situation to the super hot chef, right? And things kind of ensue from there, but she ends up finding out that the guy that is employing her now, the chef, was one of her top contributors of OnlyFans, and things just kind of ensue from there. And she's like, doesn't want to tell him because she doesn't want to lose her job, because she actually really enjoys taking care of the daughter. And it's really silly, goofy. Like you're gonna want to kick your legs back and forth. Like how cute, and like the way they're kind of like dodging each other, because it's just like, does he remember me or does he not remember me? Do I tell him now? Like maybe the romance is heating up. Like she doesn't want to ruin anything, and it's such a fun, really enjoyable read. Like you're just kicking your feet laughing at like some of the hilarities that end up coming about in this book. And it's silly, it's goofy, it's fun. Again, this would also be a really great pool read, and it just makes you laugh and like you're enjoying yourself the whole time, but the romance is also super cute and well worth it. Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. Now this is also a super sweet read. This does follow two different timelines of like the current timeline and like a flashback in time. It follows our main character, who is a wedding coordinator, and she's like really busy about her job. She's not afraid to have like one night stands and things like that. In comes our main male character, who is a florist, and they end up kind of getting hooked up through like mutual friends. But again, in their current timeline, they're not together anymore, and like things ensue from there, and they're kind of just flashing back because they're having to work together for one of her best friend's weddings or something like that. And things kind of ensue from there, because then they're kind of flashing back a time of like what happened, what didn't happen, why didn't they end up together, or were they even together at some point in time. And it's a really fun, interesting story because you're flashing back and forth, but it's adding so much to the story as it's going along. It's not like so much of a heartbreak like the summer we felt like, right? Like this is the one, like it's just kind of chronicling like what happened and like why things aren't progressing what they thought they were going to be. And it's a fun, interesting read. I think the wedding aspect is also really interesting, how devoted she is to work, and like how his like artistry and like flower type arrangement stuff comes about. Like his visions are also really interesting to read about too. So it's a fun, interesting read. And again, the love story is also supreme. Like just putting out there, he gets a tattoo for her. Chef's kiss, like you can't get past that. Anyway, read this book, super great. Love Theoretically by Ella Hazelwood. I have love-hate relationship with Ella Hazelwood, but I really, really enjoyed this book. It's super sweet. It follows our main character, Elsie, who is a professor or some type of physicist of that sort, and she's trying to land her dream job. But in order to make money on the side, and because of course tenure is still a bit away, she is making money by being a fake girlfriend off this like dating kind of website, right? And one of her long-standing clients, like she's acting like she was a librarian. She never like gives real personal details when she's out on like these fake dates and things like that, right? Well, it ends up being the dream job that she's trying to go for I believe like MIT or like Stanford, one of like the really big jobs, is her favorite client's older brother. And so things kind of ensue because she says to this job interview and just like, oh, well, you said you're a librarian, but you're actually a physicist? What? Like things kind of ensue from there. And then like he's kind of barring her from her dream job, and things kind of happen from there. And it's really cute. It's a interesting, fun dynamic that you're like, wait, like what is going on? Because like, does she have feelings for this guy or like doesn't she? But then she's in this fake dating scenario with our like side character where he's just like with the brother, so it's just like weird, like what do you tell the family? And the whole point was like they've supposedly been dating for like a couple years or something like that, right? Like now does she suddenly like start to date brother? And like things just start to heat up. It's really fun. I love the women in STEM, and it's a really fun dynamic read. And then the plot line is also just really interesting, like how she navigates like this fake dating thing, and like the older brother finding out like she's actually like not who she says she is, and it's just enjoyable. It's cute and it's fun, and I highly suggest this read. The Wrong Bride. Now this one is also a bit of a tearjerker, but also like, yes girl, yes, get it. It's so fun. It's like the elite of the elites. These people come together and like the wealthy marry the wealthy. They're married off for strategic reasons still. And it's such a fun read. So this follows our main character. She is supposed to be the bridesmaid. Her sister's about to get married. She ends up not coming to the wedding and she ends up marrying pretty much her sister's fiance. But there's lots of history there, right? Like it's not as simple as she has to just kind of step up and marry this dude. Like there's lots of things that are happening. She is a stylist or like clothing maker, things like that. And he is like, of course, a super mega billionaire, but the sister was an actress. And so she's kind of like off doing who knows what. But there's lots of things, and this dynamic is really interesting because our main character has always been in love with him, but she was never able to admit that to him. And that's where things kind of ensue. You kind of follow slightly, like, not necessarily big flashbacks, but you're following, like, what happened. Because, again, like, he's been with the sister for, like, almost a decade or something like that. So things kind of ensue from there. But, again, they're married now. They kind of have to make the best of the situation. But they end up truly loving each other. And I think that's, like, the really fun part about it. Because, like, all it really comes down to, it is a miscommunication trope, but like the way it's played out is like the betrayal, but the miscommunication is chef's kiss. I absolutely love the storyline. It's such, like, it like engraves yourself in your soul, and you're like, you're like screaming like, why didn't you see this coming? Like why did this happen? And at the same time, like the way it all turns out, of course, is a happily ever after. And it's such a good story. You have such a good time reading this, and you're absolutely loving every single page that you read in this book. So I would highly suggest this book. This is also such a great poolside read. It pulls you in. There's so many different things going on, but you're enjoying every step of the way. And again, like how the wealthy live and like the way the money is dispersed. It's that part always gets, because it's like, how do the upper live, right? Like it's so interesting to me to read. But those are all my recommendations. I hope you had a really good time. Thank you for listening to me yap about all these books. I really hope you added all these books to your TBR. You're welcome to giving you a longer TBR, but I hope you had a great time. But I will see you on the next one. Happy summer reading.